and welcome to another edition of Power Wheel, a production of the Transmission Company of Nigeria, TCN. We bring you top reports in the power sector. Here are the headlines. Minister of Power, Engineer Maman, commissions power facility in Zaria. Improving power sector is key to developing Nigeria, says UG Mohammed. TCN moves to acquire facility at Ijora Power Station for power transformer repairs maintenance. TCN to add 45 MVA transformer to Okene transmission substation. This edition promises to be an informative one as we urge you to stay with us. I am Chinwenwa Anyanwu. The Minister of Power, Engineer Salim Maman, has commissioned a 2x7.5 MVA 3311 kilovolt injection substation at the Ahmadu Bello University in Zaria, Kaduna State.
Engineer Maman was supported by the Minister of State, Mr. Godi Jedi Agba, at the commissioning of the substation that was upgraded from 1x7.5 MVA capacity by Kaduna Electric, the power distribution company Discos that operates the franchise area. The Vice Chancellor of the University, Professor Ibrahim Garuba, who welcomed the minister, lauded him for honoring the invitation to commission the facility.
This is just the beginning for this university. This university is the largest in this country. We have the largest population, the largest number of programs, and the fastest growing in this country, because this is the first place of choice of most of our Nigerian candidates. For those that have their parents that have been alumni of this university, for those parents that have heard about this university, this is the premier university of Northern Nigeria, one of the best in this country, and I'm very happy your Minister of State is a proud alumnus of this university. So it is indeed a great pleasure that you are back home. I'm sure the Honourable Minister too will make this place his first place of call during his assignment in this regime of government. So it's my singular privilege and honor to invite you to commission this project. There are two components. This is the control room and then the main transformer itself. Thank you very much.
In his remarks, while cutting the tape to formally commission the facility, Engineer Maman said,
"In the name of the President, the Republic of Nigeria, Muhammad Ministry, I hereby commission upon this."
After the commissioning, the dignitaries were led to the control room and the switchyard of the substation to appreciate the upgraded equipment. Briefing pressmen at the substation, the Vice Chancellor, Professor Ibrahim Garuba, said the project has boosted the power supply experience in the institution and the host community.
This project has brought about stabilization of our power supply and improvement of the power supply. What is left now is the expansion of the power supply to the university, which the Honourable Minister has promised to look at it, and we're hopeful that very soon we will also attain that.
Earlier, the minister and his entourage had paid a courtesy visit on the Emir of Zazzau, His Royal Highness Shehu Idris in Zaria City of the state. Maman, who spoke in Hausa language, said the visit to Zaria was to commission the distribution injection substation, but first, there was a need to seek the blessing of the royal father.
Generation na wuta kuma muka ce ba za mu shigo ba, ya kamata sai mun zo fada mun zo mu kai da sarki kuma sarki Allah ya kara sarki lafiya. Al'ada ne muka sani da mun kamata ya za mu shigo wannan yanki kuma yanki a mu dai da muka tashi sarauta a kasar keke, to ba za mu shigo yanki ba sai mun zo mun sanar an san da zo mu nemi blessing din sarki mu yi sarki addu'a mu ma mu nemi addu'a daga wajen sarki.
The Minister of State, Mr. Godi Agba, in his remarks at the palace, appreciated the warm reception by the Emir while assuring that the government was committed to delivering electricity to the entire country.
We identify with people of Zaria and that in discharge of our duties, we will not be partial, we will not be unfair. We pray that God will give us the enablement to discharge this assignment with the glory of His name and the people of Nigeria. Thank you.
The Emir commended the Minister of Power for the progress the ministry is recording in terms of raising power supply.
I wish you a very successful tenure of office so that the nation will put you in our history when the minister is able to provide us with the requirement of power. Once again, I wish you every success. And I do hope that your visit, as I said earlier, will enable you to see our requirement. Indeed, we are still happy that you are able to pay a courtesy call on me. Thank you and God bless you all.
The Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer of the Transmission Company of Nigeria, TCN, Mr. Yuji Mohammed, says improving the power sector is very crucial in the development process of Nigeria.
Mr. Usman Gur Mohammed disclosed this during a recent courtesy visit to the House of Representatives session chaired by the Speaker of the House, Honorable Femi Gbajabiamila. In the session, which had the management of TCN in attendance, Mr. Mohammed emphasized the importance of electricity in national development, saying,
electricity is the major of development, sir. All infrastructure are very important, sir. But if you look at it by SDG classified all other infrastructure as number 9, but electricity alone was put as number 7. This underscores the importance of electricity. Electricity has a cross-cutting importance attached to all other infrastructure and all other development issues, and that's why it's very critical for us to fix the electricity.
In a presentation to the members of the House, the TCN boss said countries who have grown their electricity supply capacity have been able to increase their per capita and development rate. He further explained the activities of TCN to the House members, especially on why the company is implementing its ongoing transmission rehabilitation and expansion program, TREP.
So what we have done is that we have also looked at the possibility of looking at other aspects of TCAT. We have always been expanding our line. The highest now is double circuit. Now we are moving to port line, where you will have 4 conductors. Then after doing that, sir, we now come up with what they call transmission rehabilitation and expansion strategy, sir. This transmission rehabilitation and expansion strategy, sir, has the following development objectives: to rehabilitate, stabilize, and provide necessary flexibility, redundancy, and expand the wheeling capacity of TCN to 20,000 megawatt by 2022. By 2022, this is the development objective of transmission rehabilitation and expansion program. And this is a 4-year out of the 20-year East Coast transmission expansion plan.
He spoke further about the need for other operators in the power sector to invest in their networks so that Nigerians can reap the benefit of massive investment in bulk power evacuation that is being done by TCN.
All these things that we are doing, sir, which will take the grid to at least 20,000 megawatt in the next 2 years, sir. The discourse, no investment in the discourse. That is the problem we have. There's no investment. So whatever we are doing, we are only targeting, only 18 or 20 customers are connected to the grid directly. The remaining other people are connected to the discourse. So we simulated the investment requirement of the discourse, and we hired a consultant to benchmark the study we did, which is credible, sir. We require about $4.3 billion to invest in the discourse for them to be able to take the existing load and the load and the expansion that we are doing. We need investment in the side of the discourse, definitely. And sir, I want to also tell you that we have made suggestion to government that there is need to capitalize the discourse. And the need to capitalize the discourse is because if we don't capitalize the discourse, we can never see the benefit of the investment we are having. And the losses continue to grow. And when the losses continue to grow, tariff will continue to grow. Because the losses are part of what will increase the tariff. Therefore, we need to capitalize the discourse.
In his response, the Speaker of the House, Honorable Femi Gbajabiamila, said Nigerians are yearning for improved power supply as he agreed with the position of the MD of TCN that there is a correlation between electricity supply and poverty.
You have done well, and I must commend you so far. I must commend you for, in spite of the challenges that you faced or you are facing, that you continue to explore avenues, and your presentation has showed that too, on how we can stabilize this sector, which is very critical. For me, it's one of the most, if not the most important sector of the economy.
Gbajabiamila urged the TCN management to clearly present the challenges of TCN to the House so the lawmaking arm of the National Assembly can look into areas where it could intervene to ensure TCN has seamless progress in its expansion program.
We need to really figure out what areas, what is needed for us. I hate to use this word, developing is what they call it, for us as a near developed nation, what is needed, what are the areas, what are the challenges, and it's not just about throwing money at a problem, it's about putting the right thing in the right place. I mean, you talked about some of the reforms that you've embarked upon since you got there. We need to know what else needs to be done. The nexus between transmission and discourse is very important to us. You try to draw a nexus. I'm sure you know that the issue of estimated billing has been on the front burner in this house, particularly in this institution, for almost a year now. We intend to revisit it, and to revisit it very, very vigorously. What role does your company have to do with the problems that they are facing? You said, you mentioned in your presentation that the discourse need to be recapitalized.
Let's take a break for a message.
In the Transmission Company of Nigeria, TCN, we transmit bulk electricity from power generating companies, GenCos, to distribution load centers of various distribution companies, DISCOs. Nationwide, we do not generate electricity, neither do we distribute same directly to electricity consumers. TCN has two business units, the Transmission Service Provider, TSP, and Independent System Operations, ISO. The ISO comprises of System Operation, SO, and Market Operation, MO. The business units all perform specialized functions under the TCN umbrella. Transmission Company of Nigeria, TCN, wielding power for national economic growth. This message is brought to you by the Transmission Company of Nigeria, TCN.
To further encourage the capacity boosting of in-house engineers, the management of the Transmission Company of Nigeria has approached the Nigerian Electricity Liability Management Company, NEMCO, to acquire a legacy facility at the Ijora Power Station in Lagos State, where the TCN in-house engineers will begin to repair and maintain faulty power transformers.
The MD CEO of TCN, Mr. Usman Gur Mohammed, in company of NEMCO officials, recently inspected a facility at the Ijora Power Station. Addressing the press on the initiative, Mr. Toluwaseyi Abejurin of the Asset Department, Nigerian Electricity Liability Management Company, NEMCO, said after the privatization of the power sector, the asset was transferred to NEMCO to manage.
This place, Ijora Power Station, was transferred to NEMCO. It's one of those things we are asked to manage, to be able to render the liability that old NEPA, default NEPA is indebted to. We are going to, the proceeds of this place to pay the liabilities.
He, however, said TCN has requested to use the facility as a workshop for its operational activities, including repair of power transformers.
The Transmission Company of Nigeria is our sister agency. They require this place for use to maintain all their equipment and repair all their transformers on the grid. As you can see, this place is dilapidated. This place was commissioned by the Queen Elizabeth II. But this portion here is very, very useful for TCN. Being a very purposeful MD of TCN, they contract their transformer that they remove from the grids for repairs. But this place is a very good place for them. They have in-house engineer that this place, this particular property can be used by the engineer to repair all their transformers without paying any other consultancy fee.
The NEMCO official said his management is obliged to grant the request. He added that the purpose of the inspection was to know if the facility was suitable for the TCN operation.
The purpose of this inspection to know the suitability of this place for the purpose of repairing their transformer that they remove from the grid and return back to the grid. And this place is very good and very suitable for them. And we are ready to oblige their request.
In his remarks, the MD CEO of TCN, Mr. UG Mohammed, said the TCN in-house engineers have demonstrated capacity to repair power transformers and maintain transmission lines on their own.
From the work that has been done in the last 2.5 years, very clearly has shown that our engineers are better than some of those engineers that even come from abroad. I can give you clearly that all the transformers that are repaired by our engineers, in Agundi, the transformer that got fire, our engineers repaired it and brought it back and is still working. In Kumboto, the transformer that spoiled about 6 years ago, our engineers have brought it back and is working. In Abuja, the 60 MVA that was in Karu, that was out for almost 3 years, our engineers have brought it back and is working. And they're doing this without tools. Yet, those transformers that we give contractors outside, I don't think we can confirm. There's none that was put in the grid and has lasted up to 3 months, and we pay massive amount to them. So why should we be paying money when we have our engineers can even do better than those people? And that's why we are looking at the possibility of creating our own laboratory, our own workshop. And I spoke with Bayo, and we agree that we can look at this place. If it is ideal, we are all government agency. We report to the same parent ministry. I don't think there's any problem in how we are going to take over this place.
The TCN MD said after the inspection of the facility, TCN will reconfigure and modernize the Ijora facility for transformer repair activities.
Definitely we need to reconfigure it and modernize it. But if you look at all these big metals, we can easily hang our crane and our equipment that can carry heavy transformer on them. So I believe that we can fix it. It's ideal. It's not far. It's inside Lagos, and it's easy for us to do. You see, if you look at this place, it's not even far from the port. So we can even new transformers that we brought before we take them to the various locations. We can even bring them here and test them, especially those that we don't believe in their integrity.
He said TCN has been reformed and given a facelift to indigenously deliver more bulk power projects.
The TCN used to be the weakest in the value chain. Today, we are the most innovative. You can see it. So we work with innovation, and we also are transparent. We don't believe in any mismanagement of resources. And that is why, if you look at in the last 2.5 years, we have installed more than 65 power transformers across the nation. This has never happened in the history of Nigeria. So this is what we are.
The Transmission Company of Nigeria, TCN, is adding a 45 MVA power transformer to the Okene transmission substation in Okene, Kogi State, as part of its ongoing nationwide expansion and rehabilitation program.
Conducting power wheel around the substation recently, the operator at the 132-33 substation, Engineer Adebanji Isaac Oluwafemi, explained the operational activities at the facility that is being expanded. He said,
we have two infeed, one from Benin and the other one from Ajakuta, so that there will be room for flexibility. If there is, in case of any problem, we can open one of our isolator, then we feed from Ajakuta. And if the Ajakuta is having problem, we can still also feed from Benin by opening the Q65. That's the isolator facing towards Ajakuta, so that we'll be feeding from Benin end.
He said there are 2 transformers at the substation that are capable of delivering optimal power supply to Okene town and its environs.
We have 2 transformers functioning here already. So just by the other side, that's the first transformer. That's the Y transformer there, the first one. We call it T2. It's 60 MVA transformer.
Adebanji said the increase in demand for power supply in the coverage area called for the expansion of the substation. As such, the TCN management initiated an expansion project at the substation to add a 45 MVA transformer capacity to it. He said the contractor is on ground working on the project.
They are on civil works. They are making some slabs to cover their trenches. So that's where they are now. And as you can see, so this is the transformer now. So if you look at the job now, you can see that most of the underground cabling have been done. So what we are left with now is just the overhead cabling, or overhead connection rather. So in which they said they will soon be able to finish.
Adebanji, who was in the company of other operations staff in their full safety wear, spoke of the impact the additional transformer will have in bulk power delivery. It will raise the substation capacity to 108 megawatts capacity.
We have 2 transformers, but due to high load demands, that was what brought about this baby project. So now, on this one now, this is 45 MVA, which will give us about, on maybe 80% loading, will give us about 36 megawatt. With the former 72 before, that will give us almost 108 megawatt, which is making the transmission station a bigger station. And on this one alone, on this 45 MVA now, 3 feeders will be radiated outside, going outside. With the former 5 feeders that we have, that will make it 8 feeders. We have Ososo feeder, we have Ikare, we have Isalu Makutu, we have Okene 1 and Okene 2. But this one, we have not given any nomenclature because they have not been handed over.
At the control room of the substation, Engineer Adebanji said this section controls the operation of the 2 transformers that can provide about 72 megawatts of electricity. He, however, disclosed that a new extension is being built for the new 45 MVA transformer that is being added to the facility.
This is our old control room for the panel, both 33 kV supervisory panel and for the T1, T2 supervisory panel.
We're bringing you more reports in the Power Flash segment. Please don't go away. We appreciate you for sticking with us through the course of this program. Join us next week on the same station for a refreshing edition of Power Wheel. This episode and the previous ones are available on our YouTube channel. You can also connect with us on these other platforms showing on your screen. I am Chinwenwa Anyao. See you next time.